The National Historic Preservation Act was signed into law on October 15, 1966 by President Lyndon B. Johnson. 2016 marks the 50th year anniversary of the National Historic Preservation Act. The preamble of the National Historic Preservation Act states, Congress declared that the spirit and direction of the nation are founded upon and reflected in its historic heritage. The historical and cultural foundations of the nation should be preserved in order to give a sense of orientation to the American people. The preservation of this irreplaceable heritage is in the public interest so that cultural, educational, aesthetic, inspirational, economic, and energy benefit will be maintained and enriched for future generations of America. And although the major burdens of historic preservation have been borne in major efforts initiated by private agencies and individuals, it is necessary and appropriate for the federal government to accelerate its historic preservation programs and activities. The words of our National Historic Preservation Act preamble inspire so many things. That was written in 1966 that we need to preserve our heritage so that our generations, our present and future generations, know where we came from. We have so much that we can offer by learning from our past. We have our most recent past, anything that's 50 years and older, to our much older past, from the Civil War and even before. One fine thing working for the Lolo National Forest is that they have recognized how important the National Historic Preservation Act is. What the National Historic Preservation Act means to me as an archaeologist is that I work for the Forest Service. Typically I get to go to work on large projects where there's timber harvest, fuels reductions, and I go through an area to see if there's any cultural resources that may be affected by the project. This was called the Section 106 process. One of the more fun aspects of being an archaeologist is that at times we get to do what's called the Section 110 projects. And that's where we're not driven by a project, but we get to go out and go do the work that we feel we really need to do that we can't get to, such as restoration of a lookout, doing an excavation at a prehistoric site to see what may have been there for ages and ages. It's those types of projects that are covered from the National Historic Preservation Act that give us that latitude to go and really get into the heart of our discipline, to the heart of archaeology, not just going through and finding what we can find, which is important to understand where people were, get that bigger picture, but then at some locations we really need to go dig a little bit deeper than what we can do than just a documentation and recordation of the site. With the Section 110 project, that gives us the opportunity for our volunteer projects, such as Passport in Time.
Because it's hard to climb around. You know, when the ladder's all the way up, I'd like to lay this down on the road.
My name is Sydney Bacon. I'm an archaeologist for the Lolo National Forest, and right now we are at Big Hole Peak Lookout, which is outside of Plains, Montana, on the Plains-Thompson Falls Ranger District of the Lolo National Forest. We have been working on a Passport in Time project. Passport in Time is a program that works in collaboration with the Forest Service to have volunteers help Forest Service employees achieve their goals in historic preservation.
I'm Carl Davis. I'm the regional archaeologist with the Forest Service. So I've been involved with this Heritage Stewardship Enhancement program that we have regionally, which funds projects like the Big Hole Lookout. So I'm thrilled to be here and to see the results. We've had this lookout on sort of an investment schedule of sorts for years, and we just haven't been able to push it forward, but Sydney and many other people were able to pull a proposal together that sort of addressed some sort of real fundamental questions. If we were going to come up here and spend all this time and effort, including volunteer time, which is quite precious, we needed to have sort of an end in sight. And it sounds to me like the plan is they're going to turn it into a rental, which is just great. So not only do we have a restored facility, but the public that's willing to hike all the way up here will enjoy. I mean, this was a place I'd love to come. I'll go back and tell my wife about it and say this would be just a great little quick backpacking trip and a great spot to stay.
I'm Tim Garcia. I'm the forest supervisor here on the Lolo National Forest, and I'm here at the Big Hole Lookout. It's my second year coming up to work with the volunteers that have come to help with the Passport in Time project. and it's just such an honor to work with them. Yeah, Jim. So I'm Tim Garcia. Yeah. I work down in Missoula.
Missoula.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good to have you up here.
Yeah. No, it's nice to be here. And so cool to see the progress in the last year of what they've been able to do. I can't wait to see the completion, but the detail and the level of craftsmanship that I see here is just amazing.
As these logs are tenoned into a mortise bucket, the only way we could get out these 4 logs for these 2 to be replaced was we cut this out and then swung the logs out.
I hope that when it's completed, I'll be one of the first to reserve the site. Because of the setting, because of the connection in the last 2 years that I've been up here, I think it'll just add that much more meaning to my stay.
I'm Dave Haddis. I'm the district ranger for the Plains Thompson Falls Ranger District. This is an incredible facility. Fortunately, due to some expertise from our archaeologists and our preservation specialists from the region, and work that has been done by a number of volunteers through our Passport in Time project, it'll last for a long, long time.
The Historic Preservation Team, located in Region 1 out of Missoula, Montana, which comprises of Montana, Northern Idaho, North and South Dakota, is unique to our region.
You mean no chalk line Yeah, that one you'll have to snap, but you should have 4-inch lines on either end.
Thanks to all those folks that did a great job for us. The importance of these lookouts is to provide opportunities to the public to allow them to rent this facility, and hope we can get that up and running in the next few years so people can come up here and rent Big Hole Lookout if they want.
The Lolo National Forest has a long history of recognizing our Historic Forest Service unique sites. We've had one person for almost 30 years that worked here, recognizing how important all these sites were.
I'm Milo McLeod, and I'm the retired forest archaeologist from the Lolo National Forest. And Big Hole Peak was last staffed in 1972, and since then it's been abandoned. It's a very unique structure architecturally, and there have been plans to restore Big Hole Peaks going back as early as 1994. In 2002, a scope of work was written to begin rehabilitation, and a year or 2 afterwards, the ranger, Randy Hojum, Kirby Matthew from the Historic Preservation Team, Dave McElderry, who worked on the district, we came up here and discussed restoring Big Hole using the Passport in Time program, and eventually putting it on the cabin rental. And I'm very pleased to see the work underway and the progress that's been made.
This one has a little bit of rot right in here. And we'll just do a repair on it. We want to keep the character of this building. All the visible work that we're going to show is going to match the character that they did. All the handwork, all the, just the shape of the logs and the feeling when you come into this building. And our goal is to replicate their craftsmanship. And we try to, when we do this, we try to leave, the mark we leave on the building is the mark that the original craftsman left. We like to think that if the original builder came in, he'd say, yes, that's the work that I did. And if we accomplish that, then we've succeeded. So you're working at various levels. You're crafting at an amateur level, and then you're crafting at a master craftsman level. So you're switching up. If you're a professional, it takes a lot of skill to do work that looks like an amateur did it. It's actually harder than doing fine crafting. It's one of the things we really try to avoid is overcrafting the building. And yeah, it's easier to strive to do better than you're capable of than it is to strive to do worse than you're capable of.
As a building on its own, it's just one structure that's connected to our greater Forest Service history, that connects people to the landscape of where they are.
Well, I'm Molly Morrison from Plains, Montana, and I was last here in 1971. I was a lookout right out of high school in 1970. Was my first summer working for the Forest Service, and this was my mountain. And I was up here 2 summers. It's so great that now they're renovating it. There aren't too many lookouts that are just log cabins sitting on the edge of a cliff, and that's what Big Hole is.
The Forest Service has a long history of protecting significant heritage resources to share their values with the American people and contribute relevant information and perspectives to natural resource management. Protecting these resources ensure that future generations have an opportunity to discover the human story etched on the landscape of our national forests, grasslands, and prairie. I hope you've enjoyed our video about the National Historic Preservation Act 50th year anniversary. Here in Region 1, we feel that we're very fortunate that we have two unique programs, the Historic Preservation Team that began in 1991, as well as the Heritage Stewardship Enhancement Grants. Myself, plus other Forest Service archaeologists, compete for these grants where we are able to do projects such as Big Hole Lookout and restore these buildings so that more people can come back and enjoy them. Big Hole Lookout was a great building to begin with, but we just had to make it a little bit better, a little bit safer, and we hope that you get to come out, one, enjoy our Forest Service lands, and two, I really hope you get a chance to come out to Big Hole Lookout and see the beauty that's up there.